And now, an announcement from the office of the President-elect.
My fellow Americans, come before you today with a heavy heart, and I want you all to understand this. We have some difficult times ahead of us, but now more than ever, we're going to be here for you. We here at Student of the Gun make this promise to you that we are going to be here for you today, tomorrow, the next day, the day after that. We're going to be here to help you get through all of this nonsense, all these bad things that have been generated. And many of you might be out there and you're thinking, what is this guy talking about? What is he talking about, President-elect? Who's the President-elect? It's me. Ladies and gentlemen, we're living in an era where apparently, according to the Associated Press and Facebook and big tech, I guess we're just going to refer to Twitter and Instagram and YouTube. We're just going to call them big tech. So according to the AP and and big tech, you can just say things now and make them true. For instance, you can just say that Sniffy Joe is the President-elect. He's not, but you can just say that. And you just keep saying it over and over and over and over again, and it takes us back to the dark days of World War II, and where was it the Goebbels? I believe it was Joseph Goebbels who said, "If you repeat a lie enough times, it becomes the truth." I'm going to look that up. I want to make sure that it was Goebbels who said that. You remember that, Jared?
No, I do not.
Okay, it was Goebbels is the minister of propaganda, and it's called the big lie technique. Essentially, if you repeat a lie often enough, people will believe it, and that is exactly where we are at right now in the United States of America with the mainstream news media and big tech. Repeat a lie often enough, and people will believe it is the truth. So I figure if Sniffy Joe can go out after, first of all, Joe Biden owes the entire country an apology. What he should be doing right now is he should go out and apologize to the nation for the behavior of his party during this election. But they won't. You won't do that because, well, quite frankly, he's part of the problem. And I don't know if he has the capacity to do it anyway, the mental capacity to do it. I guess if he read off a teleprompter, but he can't even stay on teleprompter. Go to the next page. And then he gets lost reading the teleprompter. But let's give him the nuke codes. Let's put him in charge of deciding whether or not to launch a nuclear strike. What do you mean? Why would he do that? Well, if we get attacked, the president has literally minutes, not hours. If we're in the process of being attacked, no one would attack us. Yeah, because everyone in the world loves us. No one would attack our country. You guys know that I know that we don't talk about it much anymore because we're so involved with Dances with the Stars and COVID and being scared by Kung Flu and everything. But the really real world that we live in, we have enemies who see us as an impediment to their power. And if we were to be attacked, the president of the United States has minutes to authorize a retaliatory strike. Not hours. Not days, can't do a poll. They have to make the right decision. And it has to be the absolute right decision. You have to trust that person. Think about it like this. Would you put your kids on a school bus that was driven by Joe Biden? Would you? Would you do that? Would you take your little kids, your little elementary school kids, and the bus pulls up in front of your house and you look and Joe Biden is driving the bus and you're going to put your kids on that bus? Now, I know some sycophant Democrats are like, of course I would. What would be the problem with that? But anybody who actually has a brain and thinks and pays attention, I'm assuming you'd say no. Say you wouldn't trust Joe Biden to drive your kids on a school bus because either A, he would run them into the ditch, or B, he would just put it in park and go back and sniff and grope them. Either way. But you want him you trust him to have the nuclear football and on a moment's notice to make the right decision to keep the country safe. Really? Really? That's the best we can do? Let's face it, the whole Democrat Party owes the United States of America an apology. That's the best they could do? A 47-year-old dementia patient who's been in government, 47-year veteran of government, not year old. He's been in government for 47 years and hasn't fixed anything yet. Been promising to fix stuff. Been promising the black folk and the Latino folk and the gay folk and the women and the union members, and he's been promising all the special groups that he's going to make everything great and fix all the problems. Had 47 years to implement this wonderful plan to fix America. Couldn't do it. But now, today, it's going to be able to do it. Going to turn everything around. Turn it around from what? We've had 3 years of unprecedented prosperity in the United States of America. And so that's what the Democrat Party wants to turn us around from. 17, 18, 19. Unprecedented in the last 25 years, prosperity. People going back to work more. And all of the minority folk, the victim class that the Democrats usually believe that they can rely upon, Trump made all their lives better. Unemployment was down in the black community, in the Latino community, and across the board. He brought, when Comrade Barry was in charge and Bill Clinton were in charge, we were told, hey, those jobs are gone. They're gone to Mexico, gone to China, gone to Canada, gone to wherever, gone to Indonesia or India. Those jobs are just gone, and they're not coming back. And Donald Trump brought them back. He brought them back. Brought industry back. And the Democrats hate that. Because if the economy is good and people have money, then they don't need them. So what we have to do is we have to destroy the economy and turn everyone into a victim. That is the plan, and you need to understand that. All right, what else are we going to talk about today? Oh, we got a Warrior of the Week question about 5.56 223 ammo. What's best for self-defense, which I would love to talk about. And then, in case you did not pay attention, and I know if you're waiting for the big media to let you see this, then you're not going to see it. But the Trump legal team released the Kraken, and we're going to play some audio from that. All right, Zach, are you with me, brother?
Maybe?
All right, well, let me know when you're definitely with me.
Stand by for education, enlightenment, enjoyment, and entertainment.
He's not here to talk about your feelings. He's not here to say what you want to hear. He's here to say what needs to be said.
Ladies and gentlemen, and children of all ages, please welcome your host, the pimp hand of America, Professor Paul Markle.
All right. Jared, you want to just take us? I guess we can. Oh, there'll be questions and answers at the end of the show if you have them. If you guys are watching this live right now, if you're listening to it on Monday when it's been recorded, you can ask a question. We won't be there to see it, but you can ask the question. I mean, you can do whatever you want. You're an American. But yeah, if you're watching us live right now, if you're on Discord, the Discord channel, if you're on the Facebook channel, which is, I don't know how long that's going to last, but whatever, we're just going to use it right now. If you're watching and you have a question, go ahead and drop it in there, and the boys will monitor the questions as the show goes along. And when we get to the end, if there's good questions, we'll answer them. Oh, Daniel Wheeler says he likes the Blackwater hat. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's actually the third one I've had. I got to take good care of this one because they don't make these things anymore.
Yeah.
They're they changed the name and all that stuff. And yeah, I got my first one in 04, I think it was. Yeah, probably around 2004. So any hooser, Jared, you want to read the question? The word it's a read question. It was a written question, not a phoned in question. So
do we want to do the music first or after?
Yeah, go ahead and do that. Do the music, and then Jared will do the normal stuff.
If you'd like to be the SWAT Fuel Warrior of the Week and get your free bottle of 9mm plus P, just ask us a clear and concise question. The best way to do it is to call 844-207-7684. Ask the clear and concise question. Then if we choose it and we read it here on the radio, or we play it here on the radio, then you get a free bottle of 9mm plus P. So all you have to do to claim that is send an email to info@studentofthegun.com. Include your name, mailing address, phone number, and your email typed into the body. Today's question was actually written in, and it's from Ben Voltmer. It says, how effective would varmint ammunition, such as the 55-grain Nosler Varmageddon, be as self-defense ammo?
All right. Good question. Now, that specific one, the 55-grain Nosler Varmageddon. Let me look that one up for specifics. Nosler Varme. I think if I just put Varmy, it'll finish it for me. Varmageddon bullets. All right. Well, I can tell you what. All right. So essentially what you have is you got a plastic tip, a black polymer plastic tip, and you have a lead core and a jacket. All right. The problem with plastic tip ammunition on anything bigger than a prairie dog or, maybe a marmot or whatever, is that it doesn't work great on humans. It produces a horrible surface wound. Don't get me wrong. A plastic tip bullet is going to produce a horrible surface wound. And it might penetrate all the way through into the vitals, but it might not. Many years ago, I was on a corporate sponsored hunt. It was a media event, and we were given, the ammunition by the manufacturer. They're like, we want you to try this ammo, use these optics, blah, 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 blah. And we were here in Wyoming, and it was when a company, I think it was Federal, pretty sure it was Federal. They had a brand new 223 varmint cartridge, right? And we went there, and they gave us the ammo, and they said, please load this in your guns and go shoot varmints and tell us how it works. All right, awesome. On prairie dogs, super devastating, right? Because prairie dogs weigh what? 3 pounds, 1.5 pounds. A 5-pound prairie dog is big. Worked great. Well, we went out with our guides and called some coyotes, and I shot a coyote at about 300 yards, and I heard it hit. It was cool because everyone kind of looked at each other because I fired and you heard the whop. And everyone's like, oh, it connected, right? And we saw it roll, and it like rolled, and then we lost sight of it because there was like a little valley. And anyway, so we all kind of gathered up, and we went over to where it's not like one of those, oh, sure, you hit it, Paul, whatever. No, everybody there verified it. It was gone. Like, what do you mean it was gone? It was gone. It was missing. The bullet hit it, it whopped it, and it jumped and, but it got away. I'm sure it died far away from us. It probably bled out far away from us. But the point of self-defense shooting is not to injure someone so as that they go away somewhere and bleed to death behind a log. The point of self-defense is to make them stop right now. And the problem with lightweight, and this is something that many police departments discovered to their chagrin, in the 2000s, in the early 2000s. Hornady was putting out this. Everybody in the police world somehow got scared by the over-penetration boogeyman, right? Over-penetration. Oh. And this is in the early 2000s. That's when they were changing over from 9mm subguns to M4 carbines, right? So all of a sudden, you had cops walking around with rifles when 10 years earlier they weren't. And the big fear of the chiefs and the administrators of like, oh, it's a rifle. It's going to over-penetrate. It's going to over-penetrate. It's going to over-penetrate. Of course, there weren't enough ballisticians to say, hey, Jack, the chances of the rifle over-penetrating are way less than the 9mm MP5s that you were issuing us 10 years ago or 5 years ago. And they're like, what? Yeah. Slow, heavy bullets actually keep going more than light, fast bullets. And they didn't have a problem with that. So here's what happened. Hornady, to alleviate the fears of these chiefs and sheriffs and administrators, they came up with these red ballistic tip 5.56 rounds for cops, right? Well, there were a bunch of shootings, and one in particular where they were dumping rounds at a bad guy who was barricaded and was shooting at them, and to no effect, because their rounds were striking, and he wasn't barricaded behind like AR-500 steel. He was barricaded behind, he basically took a bunch of junk, a bunch of old doors and 2x4s and crap like that and nailed them together. So these rounds were striking this like basically wooden barricade material and disintegrating and not stopping him. It was kind of I wrote a whole article about it, but it was kind of an eye opener. Like, oh, huh. But I thought this was great. Now, if a dude was standing in front of you bare chested at 5 feet and you zapped him with one, yeah, I'd probably put him down. But we can't count on that. We can't count on the fact that our attackers are all going to be standing 10 feet away, bare chested, waiting to absorb bullets. There could be some stuff between our guns and them, whether it's doors or cars or, car doors or house doors or whatever. So the truth of the matter is, if that's all you can find, okay, if that's all you can find, you're like, dude, I'm in a position now where that's it. It's all I can find. Don't have anything else. Great. Load it up and, Hail Mary and do what you got to do. If you have a chance to select the ammo, then just get 77 grain, get the BTHP, get the Mark 262. Either get the Mark 262 or get the Marine Corps' Mark 183. I think it's a Mark 183. Buy those. And is it Mark 183 or Mark 138? I don't remember. But the Marine Corps has a good load. Oh, 318. I knew I had those numbers all juxtaposed. Yeah, the Marine Corps has a Mark 318. That's a good round. They're having good success with that. And of course, the Mark 262. That's MK 262 is the best 5.56. It's proven to be the best because we've been stacking up bodies like cordwood overseas with that, and it just works. So yeah, the answer to that question is it might seem like a great, might seem like a good idea, but the fact of the matter is, it's marginal. It's marginal. You got a 250-pound man and you need to stop him. That's not the preferred round. So, but they're not going to shake off a Mark 262 or a 318. They're not going to shake that off. So there you go. All right. Zach wants to remind you guys, man, this month is flying by. God. It's already the third week. What day is today? No, we're going into the fourth week.
Yes.
Yeah, we're into the fourth week of November already. So that means that this coming Friday is Black Friday after Thanksgiving. And Zach, being the diligent shipping ogre store manager that he is, he's always trying to take care of you guys and hook you up. So, Zach, what are you going to do to hook them up on Black Friday?
Yes, indeed. I'm amazing. So we got a bunch of different things. I think I've got well over a dozen special little deals for you that are coming each and every day for the 27th, 28th, and 29th, that is. And one of those big things is, as you'll know, recently we put out the firearms. What was it? Firearms fitness workout. What was it called?
Yep.
Yeah.
Firearms
Fitness
program.
workout program.
That thing. And you know what you need with that? Targets. Specifically,
Targets.
the school maintenance targets. And luckily for you, this Black Friday, those are going to be 60% off.
Whew.
That's a
Damn, son.
hefty discount, ain't it? Yes,
That makes
indeed
me
it
wanna
is,
cry.
because we're amazing. And, of course, we cannot forget that we've got the special limited edition SOTG baseball cards that you will be getting with each and every order that you place over Black Friday weekend. Isn't that just awesome?
It is.
Yes. And we've got, let's see, remember our cleaning mats?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
With
yeah.
If you get
I
one
do.
yeah, of course you do. If you get one of those, you will get 2 free bottles of EDC CLP. And then we've got what else? We got Lifesaver kits will be on sale. We've got the Ready Man Wilderness Survival cards. Those will be, I think, 50% off. I don't remember. I'm going to redact that percentage because I don't remember the exact number.
I'm going to redact that percentage.
Redacted.
The point is that we've got all kinds of awesome stuff going on over at shopsotg.com this Black Friday weekend. And we got Cyber Monday stuff, but we'll get there when we get there.
Oh, and
Hi. What?
you guys also, you should know that there are a limited number of autographed cards.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Did I not say that?
No, there are a limited number of Student of the Gun, quote, baseball cards
Yes.
that have been autographed by,
Yep.
by the Pimp Hand of America and Paul Markle and
Jared
even
and Alex and
even
me.
Miss Nancy.
Even Miss Nancy.
Even Miss Nancy.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
and one other thing. That calendar. Remember we talked about that?
Yep.
That will be on sale as well.
I saw that. I
official
saw
pet
that you
calendar.
announced that yesterday.
I did?
The Student of the Gun Pets calendar.
Where did I announce that?
You know how I
It
found
popped
out
up
about
on
it?
How'd you
Facebook.
find out, Jared?
Oh, because Facebook denied it.
Oh.
What?
Facebook denied our pets calendar.
It's
I'm
a
like,
bunch
come
of
on.
cute
Seriously, guys?
animals.
Come on.
They denied our pets calendar.
Yeah.
Racist.
Facebook hates
Such
pets now.
communists.
Which also, it's worth noting, I made that before we got Jay, the sugar glider.
Sugar.
So he is not
Aw.
on there. But he'll be on next year's
Aw.
pet calendar if this one does well.
Zach's going to meet him on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna meet him. I'm gonna pick him up. I'm gonna throw him around. It's gonna be great.
He's so fast.
Yeah.
He jumps. Well, he's like a squirrel. So he jumps so fast. And your mom's like, I don't want to lose him. I said, if you drop him and lose him,
He's gone.
you're not going to catch him.
Mm-hmm.
Shigoki will try and catch him.
Well, actually, there you go. It's perfect. It's like when we let Spike roam around. It's like, hey, where's he at? Oh, just find where Shigoki's staring at.
Yeah, but Jay moves like 5 times faster than the hedgehog ever could.
But Goki's quick as well.
Yeah, I don't want him to give the little creature a heart attack though.
Yeah. Have they gotten used to? Have they met face to face?
Oh yeah. Your mom will hold Jay and let Shigoki sniff him, and let
Okay.
Jay sniff Shigoki.
So Jay knows that Goki is not going to eat him.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I don't, if the two of them were alone in a room together, though, I don't know how Jay would feel about that.
Yeah. Well, now that we're talking about, let me go to shopsotg.com, our amazing store, and is it in the new products? It should be. It
should be.
isn't. Sweet. I need to
stuff.
fix that before this
Like
show goes out.
I saw last night, it popped up on my feed. It said new product from Student of the Gun.
We do that?
Yeah, I got a message this morning that said denied. I was like, oh, really? A pet calendar?
Didn't know that our thing would do that. Interesting.
What a bunch of scumbags.
That's interesting to know. For
You
the
guys
future.
tired of these? Are you tired of being bullied by big tech? Everybody needs. All right. If you want to follow
like
us
it.
normally,
I just like it.
or regularly, if you want to regularly follow us and allow us to send you messages and cool pictures and videos and all that stuff and inspirational thoughts, get over to Parler, and follow us.
Yeah.
Follow
Which-
the Band of America and Student of the Gun.
Yes. MeWe Parlor, and yeah.
The only place that you're going to be able to go that we know for a fact is not going to be constricted is just go to soonerthegun.com,
Oh yeah.
sign up for the 7 training tips, and then we can send you a message and let you know, hey, we're on Parlor. Hey, we're on Full 30. Hey, we're on this new platform.
Yeah.
Parlor
All
and
right.
MeWe are the two that people are all excited about.
All right. So we want to, let's not forget about our good friends Duracoat, because life is too short
To have an ugly gun.
Holy crap, he did it.
Yeah,
Well,
to have an
my-
ugly gun.
my
Life is
rifle
too
was
short
still
to have
on.
an ugly gun. And the fact of the matter is, it's getting cold. You're probably looking for indoor projects. Great. Awesome. Right now is a great time to go to Duracoat Firearm Finishes. Pick out a color, slightly darker black, olive drab, World War II OD. I love that. That's probably one of my favorites. You guys know that. If you haven't seen pictures of the Occam AK that we did, I'm kind of proud of that. That was my first ever tiger stripe pattern on a long gun. I did a couple of handguns to try and, test the waters there, see how I could do it. But I did the Occam 1775 AK, which is basically a 21st century Kalashnikov. And I think it came out kind of good. I mean, I don't know. You guys tell me. You might be like, oh, I don't like it. Well,
I think it looks good.
to each their own. But I like it, and I'm proud of it. And you could do it too. If I can do it, you can do it. So go to Duracoat Firearm Finishes, shop to your heart's content, and don't have an ugly gun. Seriously, don't do it. Crossbreed Holsters is where you go to do what? To be dangerous on demand. If you use the promotional code SOTG18, you're going to get a good holster, a belt, chest rig, whatever, man. They got all kinds of stuff there. And you can use the promo code to save money on pretty much everything. If you haven't been there lately, you really should go over there, because their website is it's off the chain. They've got lots of new products that you may not have thought about. The arc resistor bags. We did it's been several months ago. It was the beginning of the Kung Flu pandemic, when they were tracking, when your government decided that they had the authority to track every movement that you made via your cell phone. And you might have said, well, I don't think I want them doing that. The only way to do that is either A, take the battery out of your phone, or B, drop it into a Faraday cage. You're like, a Faraday cage? Like what you put gerbils in? You could put a gerbil in a Faraday cage, but I wouldn't recommend it. What I would put in a Faraday cage is, if you don't want your government tracking your every move, throw your phone. I like to do that just to F with them. Like, Paul disappeared. Where'd he go? Throw it in an arc resistor bag. And even if you're just, you don't want to do that, if you want to keep stuff fresh, it works. We proved it. We put ferrous metal into that bag, stuck it on a shelf, left it there for over a year, opened it, and it was pristine, just like the day we put it in there. No rust, no corrosion. If keeping all of your stuff, Jared, if people are out there right now spending $1,000 for freaking, did you see what they're charging for Glock 17s now?
No.
$700 to $800.
Ooh, MSRP?
Yeah. No, that's not MSRP.
I mean, not MSRP, but
Yeah,
I mean from Glock.
No, you can't buy guns straight from Glock. You got to buy it from wholesalers or retailers.
Well,
but yeah, I've been shopping around, and crazy stuff. Yeah. I saw a Shockwave for $1,000. You're like a 10 gauge? No, just the ones that were on sale for $299 a year ago, 1,000. So right now, all of your guns and ammo is an investment. If you're paying $50 for 50 rounds of ammo, you probably want to make sure that it doesn't get corroded. And that might be, if you live in an area with high corrosion, if you live in the South or along the coast, here's the deal. Everything rusts, everything corrodes. How do you stop that from happening? Stick it into one of those arc resistor bags, and it'll be good. I guarantee it. All right, moving on to the next topic. Brownells, what do they have in stock? I don't know. Go to brownells.com and find out, because the inventory literally changes daily. We are not in a position where you can say, yeah, next week I'll go shop for one of those. You can do that, But if you got an email this morning that it was in stock and you think, well, next week I'll go get one, good luck. when they're, what did Pete say? They sold 10 million rounds in 2 hours. Wrap your brain around that. 10 million rounds in 2 hours. Wow. You want to know what's in stock, you want to know when it's in stock, and you want to get it, sign up for their newsletter, open it with your morning coffee, and you're golden. That's how we have, that's the world that we're currently occupying right now. So, all right, Zachary, you know what time it is. It's time for the new listeners to close that hole under their noses and open up both their ears.
Attention, new listeners. We produced a complimentary online training course called 7 Training Tips That Could Save Your Life. Get instant access by joining the Student Lounge for free at studentofthegun.com. Do you watch Student of the Gun TV, read the blog, and follow us on Facebook? If you answered no to any of these questions, you are wrong, but you can easily fix yourself. Go to studentofthegun.com to find everything SOTG.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you did not hear this, now, Zach, what you're going to need to do is open this story, and I can pretty much guarantee you that at the beginning of the video, there's going to be an ad that you can't skip. So you go ahead and open that up and set it up. Essentially, all right, so President Trump's legal team, from day one, has been tracking, monitoring, and gathering evidence. And you say, Paul, how did they know to do this? Well, here's the thing. Donald Trump may be a lot of things, but he's not an idiot. And he's not a dementia patient. And they saw, after he got elected, first of all, I wrote a whole article about the voter fraud and chicanery that went on in 2016.
No chicanery will be tolerated.
That's right. We don't tolerate chicanery. So then 2018, they pulled the same thing. So when 2020 rolled around, they knew, okay, Trump's team, they knew that the Democrats were going to cheat because they had evidence of them doing it all up to this point. They knew it was going to happen. And so because they knew it was going to happen, they were prepared from day one. You know, on November 3rd or 4th, whatever election day was, they were prepared to begin documenting evidence. They were paying attention. They were watching. So when all this chicanery went down, they saw it. And they immediately started gathering evidence. And the media is like, you claim, you say, well, where's your evidence? And they walked out and they said, here you go. They sent little Megan McKinney onto Fox News, and she goes, oh, you want evidence? Here's 243 signed affidavits from witnesses. Oh, that's not enough for you? And so they did that. They said, here we go. 243 sworn affidavits from witnesses that we have notarized, ready to go to present in court as evidence. And the media said, we don't care. We don't care. Now, before Zach plays this video, I want to remind you guys of something. If you've been paying attention, and I hope that you have, you're in my audience, you'll know that, and this goes back not just to Kavanaugh, but you remember when Brett Kavanaugh, they nominated him, and the Democrat Party came up, they produced supposed witnesses against him to lie. Of course, the year after, we discovered that these people had perjured themselves and had lied to try and undermine Brett Kavanaugh. Did they get punished? Jared, how many people who went on the stand in front of the House and the Senate, and lied about Brett Kavanaugh were actually punished for doing that?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I'm going to guess 0.
Yeah, the number would be 0. Remember that nasty hag that the media is like, oh, she's so brave. She's so brave. And she sat there and lied. And then months later, the media had to admit, maybe she kind of fabricated. Maybe she misspoke. No, she lied. But when the charges, when they trumped up these charges against Kavanaugh, there was no evidence. But what did the media tell us, Jared? That it was so the accusations were so serious that regardless of evidence, we have to look into this. Mm-hmm. They did the same thing with the Russia gate. Remember? And 2016, right out of the box, as soon as Trump won, they're like, oh, Russia interfered with our elections. Like, yeah, but you don't have any evidence of that whatsoever. Doesn't matter. It's so serious. The charges are so serious that we have to look into it. But we don't have any evidence. Yeah, but the charges themselves, the accusations are so serious that it cannot be ignored. Jared, you don't remember this because you were in high school during George Bush's presidency. But they did the same thing to Bush. Wild and crazy accusations were thrown out against George W. Bush by the Democrats. And the media is like, well, these charges, the charges themselves, the accusations are so serious, it can't be ignored. We said, yeah, but there's no evidence. We can't ignore it.
So would voter fraud not be an accusation that's big enough to investigate, even if there is no evidence?
Right. So here we are in 2020, the accusations backed up by mountains of evidence. And the media has said what? Nothing. Right. Nothing to see here. Don't care. Not going to talk about it. So up to this point, the accusations were so serious that regardless of whether or not evidence existed, we have to look into this. We have to report on it. It's so serious. Hell, they did that in the House. Well, the accusations against the president are so serious, we can't ignore it. But you don't have any evidence. Doesn't matter. We'll start the investigation and then try and find evidence later. So right now, we're in a position where there's not just accusations. They're shoving the evidence in their faces, and these press people are recoiling like Dracula, they're at a crucifix, like, no, we don't want to see it. Well, we're going to ignore this. La, la. They're the 5-year-old with the fingers in the ears. La, la, la. I'm not going to report on that because it doesn't fit my agenda. Zach, is the video ready?
It's been ready for a while. Two
Okay.
things. One, F you Rumble with your 1.5 minute long unskippable ads. Number two, this is 10 minutes long. About how much do you want to play of it?
Give us at least a good 5 minutes or so because she's going to explain it. So a lot of you guys are out there and you say, okay, I know that chicanery is afoot, but how could they do this? Well, you're going to find out how. Go ahead. The voice you're going to hear is Sidney Powell, one of the lead attorneys for President Trump.
Through Venezuela, Cuba, and likely China in the interference with our elections here in the United States. The Dominion voting systems, the Smartmatic technology software, and the software that goes in other computerized voting systems here as well, not just Dominion, were created in Venezuela at the direction of Hugo Chavez to make sure he never lost an election after one constitutional referendum came out the way he did not want it to come out. We have one very strong witness who has explained how it all works. His affidavit is attached to the pleadings of Lynn Wood in the lawsuit he filed in Georgia. It is a stunning, detailed affidavit because he was with Hugo Chavez while he was being briefed on how it worked. He was with Hugo Chavez when he saw it operate to make sure the election came out his way. That was the express purpose for creating this software. He has seen it operate, and as soon as he saw the multiple states shut down the voting on the night of the election, he knew the same thing was happening here, that was what had gone on. Now, the software itself was created with so many variables and so many back doors that can be hooked up to the internet or a thumb drive stuck in it or whatever. But one of its most characteristic features is its ability to flip votes. It can set and run an algorithm that probably ran all over the country to take a certain percentage of votes from President Trump and flip them to President Biden, which we might never have uncovered had the votes for President Trump not been so overwhelming in so many of these states that it broke the algorithm that had been plugged into the system. And that's what caused them to have to shut down in the states they shut down in. That's when they came in the back door with all the mail-in ballots, many of which they had actually fabricated. Some were on pristine paper with identically matching perfect circle dots for Mr. Biden. Others were shoved in batches. They're always put in a certain number of batches, and people would rerun the same batch. This corresponds to our statistical evidence that shows incredible spikes in the vote counts at particular times, and that corresponds to eyewitness testimony of numerous people who have come forward and said they saw the ballots come in the back door at that time. Notably, the Dominion executives are nowhere to be found now. They are moving their offices overnight to different places. Their office in Toronto was shared with one of the Soros entities. One of the leaders of the Dominion project overall is Lord Malloch Brown, Mr. Soros' number 2 person in the UK and part of his organization. There are ties of the Dominion leadership to the Clinton Foundation and to other known politicians in this country. Just to give you a brief description of how this worked, I'm going to quote from a letter that was written, and I will read that to make sure I get the quotes right. This person was objecting to the United States acquisition of Sequoia voting systems by Smartmatic, a foreign-owned company. I believe this transaction raises exactly the sort of foreign ownership issues that CFIUS is best positioned to examine for national security purposes. It's undisputed that Smartmatic is foreign-owned and it has acquired Sequoia. They keep changing the names as they go along. Different times when a problem comes up, they just create another corporation and call it a different name. But it was a voting machine company doing business in the United States. Sequoia voting machines were used to record over 125 million votes during the 2004 presidential election in the United States. Smartmatic now acknowledges that Antonio Mujica, a Venezuelan businessman, has controlling interest in Smartmatic, but the company has not revealed who all the Smartmatic owners are. According to the press, Smartmatic's owners are hidden through a web of offshore private entities, and that is in fact true. Smartmatic has been associated with the Venezuelan government led by Hugo Chavez, which is openly hostile to the United States, and of course, as we all know, communistic and really brutalizing its own people. The system has been continued there by Mr. Maduro and ensured his election. Smartmatic's possible connection to the Venezuelan government poses a potential national security concern in the context of its acquisition of Sequoia, because electronic voting machines are susceptible to tampering, and insiders are in the best position to engage in such tampering. This letter expresses concern of the Chicago 2006 primary election. And it ends by saying the products and services that are of Venezuelan origin and evaluate Smartmatic's ownership to determine who could have influence and control over these and other Sequoia products and services are important to the national security of the United States. This letter was written to Hank Paulson on October 6, 2006 by Congresswoman Carolyn B. Maloney. Senators
and pull it down.
Klobuchar and Warren.
Is that enough for you to not go ahead and swallow everything that you're being told? Now, remember, let's back this up. We had the Breitbart story about Mark Elias, Democrat lawyer who pushed the vote by mail in 2020. Mark Elias, who was the attorney for Hillary Clinton during her run for president, sued states to do the vote by mail, right? He's also the same one who came up with the Russian dossier scam in 2016, where they hired a former British spy to fabricate information to feed to the FBI so that the FBI would start investigating Donald Trump and try and overturn his election. Ladies and gentlemen, Jared, which day? Oh, it was during the grad program. During the grad program, we laid out how we got to this point over 20 years. You had to start with the American people had to be convinced that paper ballots were untrustworthy. And we couldn't trust them anymore. And we had to come up with a new system. Al Gore and his team they fed the story to the United States media, and the media, being sycophants, just ran with it because, I mean, is there any question in anyone out there's mind? You're like, well, I'm not convinced that CNN et al. Are 100% in the pocket of the Democrat Party. Do you still need evidence of that? If you still need evidence that the big tech and the mainstream media are in the pockets of the Democrat Party, you basically can't be convinced. So we started in 2020 with the hanging Chad debacle. And the US media beat us over the heads for years that paper ballots are unreliable. We can't rely on her. It's the year 2000, and we're still using paper like cavemen. We have to use computers. And so we all kind of like, okay. And at that moment, they started creating, why in the world, Jared, you're a smart enough guy, why in the world would we trust some faceless entity to create a software program to record the votes? Because you couldn't just, with the stroke of a few keys, put in whatever you wanted, could you? Are you kidding?
The people that are doing these press conferences, Sidney Powell et al., they've got to be afraid for their life.
Yeah. Yes. Well, here's the thing. I would hope that Americans right now would realize that if anything happens to these people, that 100% proves beyond a shadow of a doubt. Sidney Powell, I'm going to go ahead and say it. She's not going to kill herself, and she's not going to die in a car accident.
She'll die of coronavirus.
Yeah, she'll die of coronavirus. No one dies of coronavirus. Everybody dies of something else. Ladies and gentlemen, the scam has been in. Why? Right, knowing that these software companies and voter machine companies are foreign owned for 3 years plus, going on 4. The Democrats and their lapdogs in the media have been screaming about Russian foreign interference in our election. And the same people have no problem using software and machines developed, designed, and produced in a communist country, in Venezuela, offshore. The Democrats have no problem allowing a George Soros funded company to produce voting machines and software. There's what? We're playing a game called Just How Stupid Are the American People? Why, in the name of all that's holy, would anyone trust a computer to tabulate the votes for the president of the United States of America? Why should we? Don't you think it's a lot easier to tamper with a computer, with votes, just notional votes on a computer, than it would be to actually tamper with physical, real, hard paper ballots? Ladies and gentlemen, that's the Kraken. And the press conference went on. The Giuliani talked. He provided evidence. I think Jenna Ellis was her name. Jenna Ellis provided more information. The media, when it came to George W. Bush, when it came to Kavanaugh, when it came to Trump, it didn't matter whether there was no evidence whatsoever. The accusation, the charges were so important that they had to talk about it. The exact same media that could run daily stories about Russiagate, and you fill in the blank here, and Kavanaugh drank beer in high school. That makes him a rapist. What? Well, yeah, everybody knows that if you were on the football team and drank beer, then you're a rapist. We just know that. There's no evidence. Well, it doesn't matter. That same media is ignoring this and pretending they've got their fingers in their ears like a 5-year-old going, la, 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 la. We won't look. You can't make me look at it. Jared, thoughts? You've got to have thoughts.
It's winter is coming.
Winter is coming for this country.
We've been talking about this for a while now, but I just think that it's there's more going on than we initially thought, I think. And then this begs the question, if this is indeed true and this is actually happening, then are the people that we hear from in, say, California or New York, and say, well, we're, the most of the state is we're gun owners and we think this way and we vote this way. Well, have you guys been undermined this entire time?
Remember we said about
question.
What did I say about voting? In the Bill of Rights, is there anything in there about does the word vote appear in the Bill of Rights? First 10 amendments. No,
because you have to secure liberty before you can.
Liberty must be secured by men with rifles first. And then after men with rifles have secured liberty, then you can put your rifles aside and you can have honest, open discourse through votes. But what do you do when you can no longer have honest, open discourse with voting? What do you do when it doesn't matter how hard you vote, how much you campaign? Jared, do you remember someone who looked a lot like me pointing out in 2012 that Comrade Barry was bored at the presidential debates?
Yeah.
And acted like he didn't even care? And what did I say?
They already knew.
They already knew the results of the election. Comrade Barry, and somebody had to kick him in the ass, and they're like, hey, during the next one, actually go out and pretend like you care. Because the second debate, he literally was looking at his watch like, is this thing over? Because I just don't care. Blah. Doesn't matter. My party has already counted the votes. I'm just going through the motions here. I got dinner to make. I got to catch a movie. I don't know why we're even here. He was so bored. Limbaugh pointed it out. And when he said, yeah, and get weapons of war off the streets and so forth and gun control. And I was like, whoa, that's why we have National Hug Your AK Day. Because Comrade Barry went out during a general election and propose gun control. And I raised the red flag and I waved it all over the place. And I said, that doesn't happen. You don't push gun control during a general election. You never do. Because up to this point, it's always been career suicide. You push gun control after you got the power and they can't get you out. That's when you do it. You never push it during a general election. You always lie and say, oh, I'm a sportsman and look at me with my over-under shotgun. Blah, 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 blah. You know, you do a Kumo. You go stand in a field with a over-under shotgun and say, I'm a sportsman. You never push gun control. And I said, something's wrong here. Why would you do that? You do it because you already counted the votes. And they've just been getting better and better and better at it every year that goes by. They've gotten more and more bold and more brazen because they've been getting away with it. It's like a child. If you let them get away with it, they're going to do it again, only they're going to do it more often. Because why wouldn't they? This is, and right, the statistical evidence that she pointed out, alluded to, we've got a direct link to that. Did you make that go away?
I put it on the other show.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to really get into statistics on the radio because it's kind of mathing on the radio is hard. But if you guys, if you want to read it on your own, go ahead and read that. Do we have, Zachary? Do we have any hard questions right now?
We don't have time for Q&A.
Negative.
Yeah.
Anyway, so.
All right. I think we pretty much filled this up. But ladies and gentlemen, that's it, man. You got to have the courage to realize that evil is in your country. Evil wants to control you. And what do you do if your vote doesn't matter? All you guys are like, oh, get out the vote, man. Get out the vote. And I said, great. But what do you do if it doesn't matter? You just resign yourself to slavery? I don't know. It's up to you, man. All right. Wednesday, we're going to talk about Kung Flu Part 2. It sounds like Electric Boogaloo, like a 1990s breakdancing movie. Kung Flu Part 2, the Electric Boogaloo. We got that on Wednesday. We've got a Brownell's Bullet Points, very important topic in Brownell's Bullet Points. And then the dangers of begging for permission. Do you want to be dangerous on demand, or do you want to beg your master for permission? Some say yes, some say no. We'll have all that and more on Wednesday's show. Remember, kids, you're a beginner once.
Yep. If you are a beginner once, but if you are not in the Discord server yet, go to studentofthegun.com/Discord. Join our public server. It's another avenue for us, because if you're watching this on Facebook, who knows how long that's going to last. Get in the Discord. And you're a student for life.
Bingo.
We appreciate your reviews. If you haven't left a review or updated yours recently, head on over to Facebook, iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcast player to voice your opinion. Don't forget to join us at the Student Lounge, a place for like-minded individuals to learn, connect, and support each other. No chicanery will be tolerated. Remember to check studentofthegun.com daily for new, free content and giveaways. Watch, listen, read, shop, and connect at studentofthegun.com. Are you a social butterfly? Connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter for new content each and every day at Student of the Gun. Watch Student of the Gun TV and videos from our trusted partners on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Chromecast, and even AirPlay. Go to studentofthegun.com for direct links, and remember, you're a beginner once, a student for life.
I guess Jared had to go to the bathroom.
Okay, I actually need to go to the bathroom too. So go ahead and play the that funky bump music, and I'll be back in about 5.
All right, guys, we'll be back in about 5-10 minutes. See you guys later. And we're back. Hello, everybody.
Is anybody out there?
I'm out here.
Is anybody out there?
Jared's not out here, though.
No. That's a Pink Floyd song.
I know.
Is anybody out there?
Is anybody out there?
Out there. My buddy Dick Brown, former Marine, just sent me a thing, and he was joking. He said they're going to change the Marine Corps anthem to include space, because in the Marine Corps anthem it says on air and land and sea. I said, yeah. I said, I want to be a door gunner on the space shuttle. And
like Luke.
And he goes, yeah, like stormtroopers. I'm like, no, Marines in the Space Force would not be like stormtroopers because Marines can shoot. I said, Marines would be more like the Mandalorians.
Yeah. Which apparently, like the true Mandalore is like a cult.
Are you paying attention to internet mumbo jumbo?
Correct.
See that? I don't. I pay no attention whatsoever to the whiners on the internet. Are like, I don't like that. I don't like that. It's like, I don't care what. Like.
What I'm referring to right now explicitly is apparently Boob Armor bitch took off her helmet, and he's like, but Mandalorians don't take off their helmets. Like, well, she was on board on Mandalore. I was trained as a Mandalorian. So how am I not a Mandalorian? It's like, because you took off your helmet.
Well, you're doing spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. So if you don't want to hear anything, if you haven't caught up yet and you don't want to hear anything about it, plug your ears and go la 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 la.
Or just mute us for a couple seconds.
Yeah, but actually, what was actually very cool is in that scene, they look at each other and they're like, he's part of the Watch. And they're like, oh, he's part of the Watch. So his clan, his Mandalore clan that he was trained under are basically Black Watch. And you're like, oh, Black Watch. Jared or Zach, where did George R. Martin,
the Crusaders,
steal?
Or the Templars.
Well, the Knights Templar.
Yeah.
The Knights Templar. So George R. Martin took the Black Watch, basically almost word for word from the Knights Templar.
Yeah.
That was his template for the Black Watch was the Knights Templar. Because if you look at the basically the creed and so forth of the Knights Templar, it was basically the same thing. Will vow of poverty, vow of chastity. Will give my life for the cause from now until the day I die. Yada yada yada. Right. And what they're saying is, oh, he's part of the Watch. And what we're going to discover is that when it comes down to Mandalorians, that there are different. And what we've already known, if you know the lore, that there are different clans.
Oh, yeah.
And they're actually, in the lore, there had been clans of Mandalorians who were all, quote, unquote, Mandalorians who actually fought each other. That fought against each other. So, there, if you go back to the old, because there's like 27 or 38 or 99
books.
Canon books.
No, define canon. Because not anymore.
Or not anymore.
They were written at some point.
Because Kathleen Kennedy said so.
The CEO of Disney. Is she the CEO of Disney?
Oh, I don't know. No, she's not CEO of Disney. She's the HBIC. Yeah, everyone's like, keep her nasty hands off of the Mandalorian. She's an executive producer.
You're a producer.
But fortunately, they've given Favreau basically carte blanche to do it, and he's done a great job.
Yeah. But people have been desperately looking for shit to complain about. Like, why are people mad about the eggs?
Who cares?
Like, apparently people on Twitter were crying about the eggs. It's like, Baby Yoda was eating live frogs last time.
He ate live frogs. Well, and so what does it say? Anakin Skywalker, like, murdered
a bunch of children. Yeah.
and no one was upset about that as they were about the eggs.
Yeah. And then also the boob armor has been a thing. But then that's something I've been liking about these Mandalorian quote-unquote controversies is seeing people voice the complaint and then immediately being smacked down. Like, hey, here's an actual history of tit armor. And like that actress apparently has like freaking D cups, and it's like, yeah, you can't wear a normal men's chest plate when you have freaking D cups.
Female police body armor is
Has
different than male police body armor.
But people need to complain, so
It's
it doesn't
a
matter.
real thing.
Doesn't matter. People need to complain about things.
Yeah, female bulletproof vests are designed for boobs. And that's why the women hate the external plate stuff, because it's not, and it crushes them. It crushes their puppies down.
Yeah.
But when female police officers that wear armor, actually it's actually cut and designed for their bosoms on purpose. Like, what? No. What? No. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Because women and men are different. No. Are they really? Not according to the Democrat Party. According to the Democrat Party, you can wake up with a penis and call yourself Mrs. Ba-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Oh, we got some good stuff for the grad program. Did you see the Army is at it again?
No, probably not.
It's a new story. And I thought, okay, this has got to be an old story, right? No, it's another story. They won't stop. And it's even worse because it's a woman's advocacy group claiming that the PFT test is unfair to women. And they want Congress to act.
Women are weaker and more fragile than men, so you need to change the thing, even though we're equal and want to be in the fucking military.
That's right. Women can do anything men can do. Anything. Except all those push-ups and stuff. And then never mind. We want the standard to be our standard until we can't meet the standard, and then we don't like the standard. And to change the standard when it doesn't work for us.
By the way, real quick, this DNA level thing, it didn't get mentioned. Do we want to move that to Wednesday's episode?
No, I did mention it.
You did?
You weren't paying attention.
Apparently
because I asked where it was, and I said that I'm not going to get its statistics on the radio, but I want people to have access to that so that they can see it.
Oh,
that's what she was referencing in the conference. Yeah, because I mean, when you math on the radio, within 5 seconds, people's eyes are glazing over. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, I heard. I'm not going to get into statistics on the radio, but this happened, and so I was like, okay, then we'll talk about it next time.
No, it's in there. I wanted people to have that. Yeah, here we go. Body armor. Is it really worth the wait? Haha. The wait.
My cheese. Have you seen that freaking Adult Swim pilot that got rejected and pissed a bunch of people off?
No.
Apparently, there was an Adult Swim pilot that was rejected, but apparently it was critically or commercial, whatever. The people who watched it loved it and thought it was hilarious, but Adult Swim didn't pick it up for some reason, and it upset a lot of people. And it is the exact kind of nightmare freaking acid trip that you would expect a Adult Swim original series to be.
Right.
It is horrifying, but also I could see people who love Adult Swim loving it. But yeah, it's freaking weird. Let me see if I can find the name of the show, and you might get a kick out of it. But it is weird as hell, man. Boy,
you know,
God,
I have to wonder if somewhere there aren't
No, there's not.
I just found an article. It's like armor is heavy and it's uncomfortable and does it really, is it really necessary? And so I have to wonder if there aren't like deceased members of the Knights Templar that are looking down and are like, you people are pussies.
Yeah.
Like, we wore 150 pounds of armor.
Yeah. Hey, Dad, you've been in a tank, right?
Yeah.
You've been inside of a tank, right?
Yeah.
Imagine walking around with that strapped to your body. That's what the Templar did.
Yeah. Like, it's like, come on. It's like they asked you to wear 20 pounds of armor and you're like, it's too heavy. Our armor was 150 pounds and we were in the desert. We were fighting on horseback in the desert. And you guys are like, it's so heavy. I don't know.
You know who was complaining about it being heavy? The horses.
Yeah. The horses wore armor. Yet,
that too, yeah.
Yeah, that's back when they're like, we're going to need to use Clydesdales.
Found it.
We're going to need to use the big horses. Have you ever stood next to a draft horse? Like a Clydesdale?
I don't think so.
Right, you've stood next to regular horses and
What
you've
the
ridden
fuck?
regular horses.
I have.
Yeah. A draft horse is when you Belgians or Percherons or Clydesdales, like horses on roids. That's the funny thing when people like, oh, I've been around horses. I've ridden horses. Like, you ever been around a draft horse? You're like, well, no, but horses are horses. Mm-mm. It's like saying, I've seen a deer and I know what deer look like, and then seeing an elk. And you're like, holy shit.
Or a moose.
That's like an elk is like if a deer was on roids, you know?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, so, back in the olden days, they're like, well, this armor and all this shit, this is too heavy for regular horses. And they're like, I got an idea.
I don't.
Put armor on a Percheron, on a Belgian, and ride that biatch into battle.
Yeah.
Because they're scary just all by themselves. They're scary big all by themselves. Dress them up with armor and put a big-ass dude with a lance on top of them. Yeah, you'd be crapping your pants.
Yeah. So, real quick, the show that I was talking about was called Smiling Friends.
Oh, okay.
There was one episode.
Never heard of it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's because it was rejected. But the internet got a hold of it, and apparently it's very popular.
Well, there you go. That's the thing.
But yeah, so doing the research for the thing I'm working on, learning a lot about like medieval combat and all that. I looked up some actual videos of actual sword fighting techniques and stuff. It's pretty cool. But yeah, that stuff was hefty.
Yeah. And that's another thing is like, you know, soldiers today, and you realize that we used to have to actually run up to people and stab them with sharp sticks.
Yeah.
Like you can stand over there behind on the edge of a building and fire a gun at them. And you're all like, ooh, like, yeah, no, we actually had to run up to them.
That's why the popular misconception is that swords have never been the most popular weapon in history. It was always spears and halberds and shit like that.
Well, yeah, because they're cheaper. They're cheaper to make, and they have longer reach.
Yeah. They're better in basically every way. Swords were almost always sidearms.
Well, yeah, swords were basically like pistols.
Yeah.
You just carried it. You didn't walk around all day with a halberd or a 7-foot bronze spear, but you could walk around with a sword. Even when you read the Iliad, most of the killing was done with spears. But in the Iliad, the guy would launch his spear or stab his spear, and it would get stuck in a dude's shield, and then it would say he drew his sword and so forth. Yeah. Most of your infantrymen,
spears
in the olden days had spears.
Yeah,
because you could probably make 10 or 20 spears for the price of one sword,
and also less metal as well.
Oh,
so
yeah.
More of the precious resources to go around. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, big sword fighting is pretty cool. Like with full on like claymores and Zweihanders.
Mm-hmm.
You know that freaking claymores, the old Scottish sword.
Yeah.
You know that the blades were almost always made in Germany, right?
Oh yeah.
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 I didn't know about that.
All the best blades were made in Germany,
Yeah.
and there were certain regions of Germany. I actually, that Civil War sword that I have,
Yeah.
actually has as German markings on it. That blade was made in Germany.
Yeah, Clauseaus with horns. Yeah, those things are fucking scary shit. But yeah, that's pretty neat. I did not know that. But I guess unlike nowadays, you can't just kind of get everything you want anywhere. You have to work around it.
Well, there's two European countries that were really big. Germany, I believe, was first, and then Spain.
To make swords.
Toledo, spelled Toledo, like the city in Ohio.
Tomatoes.
Toledo, Spain, is famous for sword making.
Huh, neat. Well, the Spaniards and their little rapiers, right? That was a thing.
Yeah, a Toledo sword. Here we go. A used Toledo sword, vintage, $28,000.
No kidding. Just that.
Yeah.
Just that little.
Yep, an auction house, an online auction house, as a 14th century medieval Toledo sword for $28,000. So there you go.
Yeah. You know what I was looking up recently, just because out of pure morbid curiosity, blunderbusses.
Oh, dude, I want one so bad.
Those things are fucking expensive.
Yeah,
like
I
would
have so badly.
I would have thought
just because.
Yeah, I would have thought that they would make here's one that's historically accurate, but we made it with tinfoil for $150.
Now they have kits. There are a few companies out there, or maybe just one company, that has a kit that you can buy. But yeah, a traditional, an authentic blunderbuss. Oh yeah, they're expensive as shit. Because I kind of got the bug. I don't know when it was. I did some research and I was like, man, just for S's and G's, just for fun, I'd like to have one. Here we go.
And nope.
There's an antique one. Oh yeah, if you go to Gunbroker, original antique blunderbuss, blah blah blah, 2200. Here we go. Large British East India Company flintlock blunderbuss, $3,800. Here's another one, $2,200. And then you get the non-firing replicas and crap like that.
Well, who cares about those?
No, I don't do non-firing replica anything. If I'm going to have something, it's going to be Iron English flintlock blunderbuss, $3,300. Non-firing. Fuck that. Homie don't play that. Traditions Firearms has kits that you can buy. And make your own. I actually thought about doing that. Maybe I'll do that this winter.
Give you something to do.
I'll get a kit and I'll just make one.
Yeah. So is it
They're sold out of stock. Yeah. Fuck you.
So I was under the impression that blunderbusses kind of always were shitty. Is that not true?
Well, they're not. They have short, fat, wide barrels, so they're not as accurate.
Yeah, I assume they were kind of like shotguns.
Yeah, they were made for up in your face, not your Kentucky rifleman laying on the side of a hill shooting a guy at 187 yards would not use a blunderbuss.
Well, yeah, I know that much, but I thought I didn't think they were I guess nowadays it's probably expensive because it's considered like a toy, like a luxury item.
Well, a lot of these things, if they're authentic originals, yeah, they're going to be expensive.
I mean, even people who make new ones, it's like nobody's buying this for practical purposes. They're buying it because I want a blunderbuss.
Yeah, because why not?
Which, to be fair, that's the exact conversation we're having right now. Is I want one just to have one.
Yeah, I don't care.
So how you doing, Jared?
Hey, there's Jared. Woo! You're muted.
Shit. So you didn't hear anything I said since I got back?
Nope.
Absolutely nothing.
Oh. Well, there we go.
So, Jared, have you seen the Smiling Friends pilot?
The what?
The Smiling Friends pilot.
No.
Yeah.
No.
That was the very beginning of our conversation like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, I don't think Jared is a big Adult Swim fan.
I used to love Adult Swim.
Yeah.
I haven't
Everyone loved
watched
it when they were a
much.
teenager.
Isn't that where Archer started?
No. Archer
Oh.
started on ABC?
FX.
FX.
There was something that was like Archer. Wasn't there on Adult Swim?
There was...
Oh, wait, hold on. Zach, is Adult Swim where Stripperella was?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, and Comedy Central. But yeah.
Funny.
But you might be thinking of... what was the show that was cel-shaded on Adult Swim? Fuck, what was it? People who
I
are
don't
listening, tell me.
All right, let's go ahead and cue up number 3.
Aqua Teen
Kung
Hunger-
Fu Part 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Aqua Teen Hunger Force, maybe?
That was Adult Swim.
Yeah. Remember that one episode where it was actually like humans who were trapped under the sea, and they got all fat so that the monster wouldn't eat them because the monster didn't want to eat the little fat kid, and they all died of heart attacks.
No idea.
That show was freaking
idea.
stupid. All right.
I am all caught up on Rick and Morty, though.
Did you know that Rick and Morty are both the same voice actor?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, who just broke something?
No one. I just put a spoon in a cup.
Okay, that was it. Yeah. It sounded like a light bulb breaking.
For shiggles and gits.
Yeah. I'm going to mute you. All right.
All right.
Jared, are you ready to start recording again?
What was the question?
Are you ready to start the next episode?
Yes, I thought we already established that.
Dad, are you ready to start the next episode?
I am, whenever you're ready.
All right, we're all ready to start the next episode.
And this is Wednesday. It's not a part 2 episode, but it is part 2 of the Kung Flu.
Yeah, Kung Flu Part 2.
Which is why I'm always reprehensive or whatever about using the phrase part 2. Apprehensive about using apprehensive?
Comprehensive? Are you comprehensive about using part 2?
About using the phrase part 2 on anything that's not the grad program. Anyway, so let me put up this little thing to everybody. Boom, 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 boom. And general at everyone.
Zach,
What?
when we're offline, make sure I remember to tell you about the conversation I had with Josh Brooks.
Got it. All right.
Okay.
Also, Jared, turn yourself up a little bit.
Turn myself up.
Yes.
Not in Discord.
No, like to where
There
I
we
hear
go.
you.
Preferences. All right, I'm going to turn myself up. You tell me when I am going to stop. Oops, I hit the mute button.
Moron.
Okay, unmuted now. And all right, turning myself up now. Let me know when I'm going to stop. We have Patriot Fire Team
Stop.
classes. Okay.
All right. So
Is this sound good, Zach?
that sounds better, yes.
Okay.
All right. Dad, go ahead and start us off on the next episode.
Stop.
What?
I don't start off shit.
What?
Oh, we're doing that thing every episode now.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. All right. I told you not to autoplay. All right. And
You didn't tell me. Stop yelling at me.
Jared, shut your mouth.
Okay.
All right. I feel bad because I told people we were starting, and it's been like 5 minutes. All right. We're going to start officially in 3, 2.
And And now, an announcement from the office of the president-elect.
Yes, indeed. We are here. We are back. The Wednesday episode. I am Paul Markle, the president-elect. How can you say that? How can I not say that? According to the United States mainstream media and big tech, you can just say stuff, and that makes it true. Just say stuff and make it. You can call yourself anything. Man, you can wake up in the morning with a penis and force everyone to call you ma'am. That is the country we're living in right now. So, I mean, Sniffy Joe can just get up and call himself president-elect. He's not, but he can. So I figured I'm more qualified to be the president than that mongoloid. So there you go. And I challenge you to tell me that I'm not. I challenge you. You haven't been in government for 47 years and haven't figured out how to get millions of dollars from China with your crackhead son. Yeah, I guess that's a qualification to be president. Hey, hashtag where's Hunter? Where's Hunter? How come he's not out stumping for his dad? How come he's not out doing press conferences? The Trump kids aren't hiding. Hashtag where's Hunter? I don't know. All right, what do we got for you today? Kung Flu Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. It's time to put the chains back on, slaves. Time to put the chains back on the slaves. That's right. That's right. You people out there in the country, you had a little bit too much freedom. Got a little too froggy. You're out there running around acting like you're independent, free people. And we're not going to have that crap. So it's time to put the chains back on the slaves. Yes, indeed. We got a Brownell's bullet points for you. And I want to talk about inspecting your ammunitions, your ammo. Yes. And, of course, we will have a Student of the Gun homeroom for you in addition to that. So, Zach, play that funky, fresh music for everyone out there.
Stand by for education, enlightenment, enjoyment, and entertainment.
He's not here to talk about your feelings. He's not here to say what you want to hear. He's here to say what needs to be said.
Ladies and gentlemen, and children of all ages, please welcome your host, the pimp hand of America, Professor Paul Markle.
Yes, indeedy do. Yes, indeedy do. Yes, indeedy do. What a world we live in which we live. I tell you what. It is, brothers, when we took the break, I went upstairs, let the dog out. It's gorgeous out. It's 38. The sun is shining, and I checked. The wind speed is 0.
Whoa.
That never happened.
Impossible. That's statistically impossible.
I know. I was thinking about taking a calf and putting it up on a rock and, sacrificing it just to make sure this keeps happening. But here I am in the studio talking to the black carbon steel microphone because I love you. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, let's go ahead and jump into. If you got cues, we're going to try and give you some A's. Yes. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving. Well, if you're listening to this on Wednesday, if you're listening to it live, it's obviously not. But if you're listening live, you can put in your cues. Tomorrow would be a great time when you're with your family, if you're allowed. If your master, I know some of you, your slave masters are not allowing you to meet with your family because apparently that's how it works in America now. The chief executive can create law and order you not to celebrate Thanksgiving with your family. Isn't that cool? It's like that's like being in Venezuela, man, or the Soviet Union, or maybe current China, where the secret police are Jared, is that where we are right now? Are we at secret? Is that, if you look at the cycle, the tick, 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 are we at secret police?
I don't know. That was actually the question that I posed. It must have been on a grad program last week. It was like, do you think that the events of earlier this year of rioting and the protesting and the rioting of the police is has pushed out all of the independent thinkers, or are there still independent thinkers in there? And well, what happens when somebody needs to enforce this 10-person rule in a state like New York or something?
Or not even that, or less than that, or you just can't, or we're going to get into that at the end. Or if you have a governor that tells you that if someone comes to your home, you have to wear a mask inside of your home. Yeah. So think about that. Are we currently are we in the era of the Stasi, the Sicherheitsdienst, the Schutzstaffel? Are we in that position now? Where I'm reading a book, and we'll be talking about it in the future, called Ordinary People. I think it's called Ordinary People. Essentially, a lot of folks out there think that the German army during World War II, that it was the Wehrmacht, as this German army, right? That they believe that it was the German army that went around and committed all the atrocities. That they're the ones that went and you know, executed all the Jews and gypsies and pretty much anybody that Hitler didn't like in these camps. It actually wasn't. The Wehrmacht was kind of busy fighting the battles, you know. So after the Wehrmacht would roll through, they sent in the reserve police battalions. And I'm reading a book called Ordinary Men, and it's a story about Reserve Police Battalion 101 and the final solution. And ladies and gentlemen, it was, and this is going to make some of you cringe, and you're going to be like, stop telling me reality, Paul. But it wasn't the army. By and large, it wasn't the Wehrmacht. You know, it wasn't Rommel, and they weren't the ones putting people in camps and executing them, taking them out into the woods and machine gunning them into a ditch. It was police officers. It was German police officers. And they recruited these people from the common folk. These were guys who were either too old or had a physical infirmity or something. They couldn't be a part of the army. They couldn't qualify for military service. So they rounded them up, or they formed them into reserve police battalions, and they sent them into the occupied areas, and they committed horrible atrocities. And it actually happened. They weren't Martians. You know, they weren't space aliens. They were ordinary men, and they committed horrible atrocities against people. So, and how does that happen? How do you allow yourself as a nation to get into a position where that happens? All right. We're going to talk about being prepared. Tomorrow is a great time to talk to your family about being prepared. If you've been allowed by your slave master to meet with your family on Thanksgiving, it's a great time to ask everybody, does everybody here at the table have at least 6 months worth of food in their houses? You know, redundant systems like redundant heating systems and so forth. You know, if it's the middle of January and all your power goes out, will you still be warm? And I also want to ask you guys, today's quote is from Proverbs 20:18. And it's prepare plans by consultation and make war by wise guidance. And so what I'm going to ask you guys out there, if you're a grad program member, I know you're out there, I know you're listening. How many of you grad program members got Zach's email and have signed up for one of several Patriot Fire Team leadership seminars that we have coming up? Answer the question for yourself. If you are in the grad program and you're listening to me right now and you have not opened the electronic mail that Zach sent you about the leadership seminars, you should do that. You should do that. Prepare plans by consultation and make war by wise counsel. And how can you provide wise counsel to your community? This is one of the ways. It's one of the ways. All right, Zach, are you ready to bump us into Brownell's bullet points?
I can be ready to do whatever you need.
All right, let's do it, brother. Boom. Yes, indeed. I got this topic because I don't even know who it was, but it was shared. It was a photograph that was shared in one of the groups that I happen to belong to. And it was 2 9mm cartridges, one that looked like a normal 9mm cartridge, and then another one that looked shorter because it looked like the bullet was pushed down into the case. And the question was, is this ammo safe to shoot? And the answer is no. The answer is no. And I'm going to tell you why. Whether it's a rifle cartridge or a handgun cartridge, cartridges are all designed and spec'd to be seated. The projectile should be seated at a certain distance, right? Because depending on the powder charge and so forth, and the weight of the bullet and what have you, it creates various pressures. All right. When you go to the SAMI specs, you get the Small Arms Ammunition Manufacturers Index or whatever, or industry, but you go to SAMI and it says, all right, a 45 ACP cartridge, and it gives you the down to the 100th of an inch specs. Should be like this, right? This long, blah, 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 what have you, this much pressure, use this kind of powder, what have you. What happens when a projectile, especially from, this happens a lot in handguns, gets pushed down deeper into the case than, well, it should be, or what is normal. If you touch that thing off, it creates a higher amount of pressure than it should be creating. And most often, it will just cause a stoppage in your gun. It generally won't blow your gun up. I'm not going to like detonate like a hand grenade in your hand or something, but it absolutely will cause a stoppage. It'll cause the gun to not cycle properly. Then you'll have stoppage and you have to fix it. And you say, well, big deal, I know how to fix stoppages. Yeah, but you don't want to start out the gunfight with one shot. You know what I mean? Vern, how does this happen? 2 ways. What the primary way that this happens is people become these habitual, what do I want to say? Range safety rule mongoloids, where every time they take their gun off, they jack the round out of there, and they put it back in the top of the magazine. Then they go to put their gun on, and they reinsert it, and then they take it off, and they're like jacking it and taking it out, putting it back in, taking it out, putting it back in. And I'm not talking about a good time on a Friday night. I'm talking about cartridges here. And what happens is every time you do that, that bullet is making contact. It's hitting the chamber just a little bit, not a lot, not a terrible amount, but just a little bit. So you do that over and over and over and over and over again. And pretty soon you've got, especially like it's really noticeable with a 45 ACP. Pretty soon you got a cartridge that's shorter than all the other fresh cartridges. So you pull them out and you're like, okay, they all look like this, but then that one looks like it's I don't know, like an 1/8 of an inch shorter. That's weird. Yeah, here's what's going to happen. You're going to touch that round off. It's going to overpressure. It's going to seize up, and you're going to get one shot off in your gunfight. Ken Hackathorn wrote an article about this years ago. Ken Hackathorn is the modern quintessential Buddha on the mountain when it comes to tactical wisdom. You know, things that people are complaining about today, Ken probably addressed 20 or 30 years ago. And one of the things Ken said, he's like, look, number one, if you're one of these habitual round chamberers, stop it. Stop doing that. But if you have to, he said, here's the reality of the situation. You're going to screw that cartridge up, and you're going to have to end up throwing it away. And you need to monitor and check that cartridge. Because the reality of the situation is, after doing that so many times, you're going to ruin that cartridge. And what's going to happen is, you know, like you're a cop. Cops do this. And he was talking to cops. He said, what's going to happen is you're going to fire one shot, your gun's going to stop working, and you're going to be in the middle of a fight, and you have to figure it out, because it's not really the way you want to start your gunfight. I mean, if you can help it. So that's the one way that could happen. Now, the other way is what we're experiencing a lot today, and that is a lack of quality control in ammunition manufacturing. You're like, come on, Paul, that can't be. Here's the reality of the world in which we live. Right now, more people in America are demanding ammunition than ever have in the history of our nation. End of story. So manufacturers are trying to fulfill that need, which means they're making the ammo faster in greater amounts and with people who are less experienced than at any time before. And the reality of the situation is that cartridges are slipping out of the factories, and they have flaws. They're either over crimped, or they're under crimped, or the you've got situations where the case head and the case mouth is got a crimp in it, or the bullet is too far in, or the primer's upside down, or there's lots of stuff. I mean, I told you a story. I opened a fresh box of ammo, and there was a 45 ACP cartridge that had a hole punched in it, a literal hole, and all the powder had fallen out. And so I, just for fun, I'm like, okay. I mean, I caught it, and I disassembled the gun. I took the barrel and I dropped it in there, and it chambered. So if I wouldn't have been paying attention, I would have put that in there. It would have gone pop. The bullet would have traveled about 2 or 3 inches into the barrel and stopped. And that would have been all she wrote, brother. You don't tap rack. When a bullet goes 3 inches into the barrel and stops, you can't tap rack that out of there. You can try. You're going to have an interesting day. But yeah, that was factory fresh, brand new ammunition. And that was during the Obama era. It's worse today. So am I telling you that every single round that you're going to go out and practice with or whatever, that you have to take it out of the box and physically inspect it? No. But here's what I'm telling you. If you're going to carry a gun to save your life, particularly a handgun, I would, every single round that comes out of that box of you'll fill in the blank, I would physically look at it. I would pick it up, look at it, and make sure the primer wasn't upside down. It's not crimped. The bullet's not overloaded or compressed, because that stuff is getting out of the factories. And the more they make, the more likely it is that you're going to get a box with a couple of 1 or 2 screwed up cartridges in it, and that could be your life, Jack. So the moral of today's Brownell's bullet point story is this: inspect your ammo, or spend the money and buy Black Hills, because you know that 4 humans actually physically inspected it all before it got in that box and got to you. I know that for a fact. I've been there to the factory and I've seen it. So there you go. All right. Is that good enough? Does that answer your question?
Maybe.
Yes. I mean, that was pretty in-depth. That's good.
Goodbye.
I'm getting water.
Oh, okay.
My water was out of my reach. My water was out of my reach. All right, guys.
But you know it's not out of your reach.
What?
Duracoat Firearm Finishes.
That's right.
And a new sexy gun.
DuracoatFirearmFinishes.com. Do you have the Occam sitting right there?
No, it's in the gun shop.
Well,
But
the good news,
you do have
the good news
right
is there's a fire extinguisher gun right there behind you. If you're watching the video, you can. Oh, is that Duracoated?
Oh, that one too. Yeah.
No,
I don't think that was Duracoated.
Yes, it did. Yes, it
I
was.
didn't Duracoat this one. But
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't Duracoat Osiris, but this one is.
But the one behind you is, yes. So if you're watching the video and you want to see an example of a Duracoat job, actually just Google the fire extinguisher gun. Either you're going to love it or you're going to hate it, but definitely let us know either way.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Just check those guys out. They're good people, good family-owned business. Oh, don't forget to sign up for the Brownells newsletter. I didn't mention that, but I should have. Sign up for their newsletter so you know when they have ammo in stock. SWAT Fuel wants you to have a stronger body, a sharper mind, they have the 9mm plus P in stock. So get it and be a happy camper and be strong. Hey, am I allowed to tell you what I did this week? I hit another goal.
Go for it.
Yes, indeed. So you guys know I've been coming back and a little stronger every day. Well, I actually I did a squat set of 310 pounds, a 310-pound squat set this week, and that's the first time since leaving Saratoga.
Do you have an applause button on that board? I'm gonna need you to hit that. There you go.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, but yep. So we're coming back, man. We're doing it. We're doing it. So, and you can do it too. I'm not special. You could do it if you wanted to. Put the effort in.
No, you're a
all
snowflake.
right. What's that?
I said, no, you're a special little snowflake.
Am I a special little snowflake? Am I unique?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's easy for you. No, it's not easy for me, but I did it anyway. All right, Zach, we've got some new listeners. We got some old listeners. We got some people that want to know, what have you got in store for them?
ShopSOTG.com is the perfect place to go if you are a student of the gun. Whether you want to expand your brain, increase your marksmanship, or help keep your family safe. All that, plus the pimp-hand brands that you love. ShopSOTG.com has almost anything that an American patriot would want. Education, enlightenment, and entertainment, and we're open 24/7. Check out ShopSOTG.com today and see for yourself.
Yes, indeed you do. And at shopsotg.com, as I'm sure everyone knows, Black Friday is this Friday. Isn't that exciting? And we got a bunch of cool stuff going. Something I mentioned yesterday was the official SOTG cleaning mat. Is that right this weekend, if you get yourself one of those, you'll get 2 free bottles of EDC CLP, which is, I think, pretty awesome. What about you guys? Do you think that's awesome?
Yeah.
EDC CLP MOUSE.
Correct.
You want to know what I used my EDC CLP for?
I would love to.
In addition to cleaning, putting on my gun, obviously.
Hinges?
But what's that?
Hinges?
Nope, didn't use it for hinges. I used it to drill through a thick piece of metal on my squat rack.
Ah,
Yes.
Yep. Drill bit lube.
I used it as drill bit lube.
People were mad at you about that. But anyway, and because you were going too fast.
No.
Every comment I saw in that video was, slow it down. It's like, this is just to show off the fact that it's not sparking geniuses. Anyway, and in addition to being geniuses like I am, we've also got, as I've been hammering into you, the SOTG official baseball cards that you will be getting free with any and all orders this Black Friday weekend, of all physical orders. Mm-hmm. This Black Friday weekend, there's, and I misspoke last time I gave numbers. We have 15 of each card, and 3 of them will be autographed. Except for the pimp hand, which there are 5 with 1 autographed. Those numbers were correct the first time.
Sweet.
Oh,
but yeah,
very good.
I already forgot what you said.
Good for you. All that and more going on this weekend at shopsotg.com. Keep an eye on our social and in your email, and we will get you all the good stuff.
We will. That's what we do, man. Uh-oh. Who did that?
See what happens?
Yeah.
When you leave him to his own devices, he just watches himself.
Well, I did what you guys said. I typed in fire extinguisher gun to see what was up.
Yep.
And there's a YouTube video by someone who's not us, someone who calls themselves E-commerce Collective. I'd have no idea who that is, but I'm glad that you're enjoying the fire extinguisher gun. And you're welcome. And you are welcome. All right, freaks and freakettes, it's time for a Student of the Gun homeroom brought to you by Crossbreed Holsters. Bow, bow, but you jump on, bow, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Dangerous. That's right. Dangerous by Madison Rising. Because if you go and get yourself a quality holster from our good friends at Crossbreed, then you can be dangerous on demand. Yes, and that's what you need to be. You need to be dangerous on demand. You need to actually carry your freaking gun, man. What? Oh, it's locked in the safe at home where it's supposed to be.
Yep.
Where it is. Then I'll get it out. If I ever need it, I'll have time to go to my safe and get it. Because that's how the world works, right? Pretty sure not. But if you guys want to take advantage of all the goodness that they have available at crossbreedholsters.com, use the promotional code SOTG18, and you're going to save some money and be a happy camper. This story was shared, I think it was shared with me. Oh, it was shared with me by Tom Gresham and Gun Talk Radio. So it comes from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Oh, you scumbag pieces of crap. Zach, can you go, or Jared, can you go ahead and read that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Allegheny County sees unprecedented spike in demand to carry concealed guns. Applications in Allegheny County for licenses to carry concealed guns have hit unprecedented levels, according to a top official at the sheriff's office. Several factors have driven the increase, including the advent of COVID-19, pockets of civil unrest across the country, and the uncertainty surrounding the presidential election. Oh, and the transfer of power to the White House. This is a quote from Chief Deputy Kevin Krause. It says, quote, currently the demand for applications to carry a concealed firearm is unprecedented. There have been an extreme spike in demand for the licenses. It all started with COVID, end quote. Prior to Pennsylvania's aggressive response to the pandemic in March, the sheriff's office would typically process roughly 40 to 80 applications per day. In the wake of shutdowns and stay-at-home orders, the office was closed for several weeks and reopened by appointment only, with applicants being scheduled for every 15 minutes. Slowly but surely, with masking and social distancing in place, the schedule was modified to accommodate appointments every 5 minutes. Daily applications processed by appointment rose until they hovered around 80 per day. So that's a doubled. That's pretty good.
Yeah. All right. So there you go. I love how they say Pennsylvania's aggressive. Oh, eat a bag of phalluses. You guys in Pennsylvania have a communist dictator and for a governor and a walking a psychopath, a mental patient as your freaking chief health person. But here's the thing. Here's what I wanted to point out. Why are people in Pennsylvania standing in line and making appointments to exercise a constitutionally guaranteed right? Well, no, Paul, you don't understand. You have to get a license. From whom? From whom do you need to get a license? Well, from the state. But so here's the reality of the situation is this. If you live in a state, and I'm not talking about a firearms passport. A firearms passport is basically why would you get a firearms passport, Jared?
So you can go from between states and
state to state, right? So if you're a citizen of Wyoming, you can get a firearm passport and you can go to Utah and Colorado and South Dakota and Montana and so forth. And you're golden, right? It's reciprocity, right? But here in Wyoming, I'm a citizen of the state of Wyoming and I don't need a permission slip from anybody. What? You don't have, no, you have to. Why? Well, because we always have, because our masters told us that's the way it is. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, here's the deal. All you folk in Pennsylvania and everywhere else that they require you to get a government permission slip, this is the reality of the situation you're living in. Your state, your county, whether it's the sheriff or the state highway patrol or whoever is in charge, they are hostage. They've taken your constitutional rights hostage, and they'll give them back as long as you pay the ransom. As long as you pay the ransom that they require, you can have it back. And then, well, you need to come back in another 4 years or 5 years or whatever and pay the ransom again. Yeah, because you can't just pay the ransom once. Are you crazy? We got to have that money. Got to have that revenue. Wouldn't it be crazy, Jared, if there were states, if there were places that you could live where you didn't have to ransom your rights back from the government?
It would be an interesting thing.
It'd be interesting. And so what's interesting to me is when I posted this, when I shared this with our viewers and listeners, some Pennsylvania residents said, they're like, yeah, well, Pennsylvania is technically an open carry state. And I said, oh, cool. And they're like, yeah, but the police don't like that. And in Philadelphia, that you're not allowed to open carry because they don't recognize that. And people, now this is anecdotal, but this is people from Pennsylvania telling me, they're like, open carriers are getting arrested because they're open carrying in their car. So you can open carry, but not in a vehicle. So you can't move your body around this. Apparently you can only open carry if your mode of transportation is your feet. Yeah, they said people in Pennsylvania have been arrested and charged with improper transportation of a firearm and concealing a firearm because they were in the car and stuff like that. You know, you don't have to worry about that if you have constitutional carry. If you follow the rules. What rules? The ones that we got in 1795. When was the Bill of Rights approved? Was it 1791, 1775? Bill of Rights approved. I know math is hard on the radio. But yeah, all right, it was ratified in 1791. Okay, so the fact is, if we just follow the original rules, shall not be infringed. End of story. That doesn't mean, well, yeah, but the state can require you to pay them money. That sounds like an infringement. Can you imagine if your state came out and said, anyone who wishes to use the computer to communicate with others via blog or whatever must first apply for and receive an electronic communications permit and license? Would you stand for that? Like, no, that's ridiculous. You can't tell me I have to get a permission slip from you to exercise my First Amendment right to communicate with other people. Why not?
Yet.
Well, because you can't. Well, why not? If they can do it with one right, here's the deal. Brothers and sisters, it's called precedent. If the government can create a permission slip system and hold your rights hostage and ransom them back to you for one thing, they could do it for any. Oh, I love how people say, no, that would never happen.
Kind of like the
I have
British
a
TV
question.
tax.
Do we have more restrictions or less restrictions state by state now than we did 20 years ago?
That depends on what state you're in.
I mean, generally looking at the entire United States, are there more or less?
I don't know. I know that there are way more laws on the books than there were. Like if you go and you look at laws, because, well, that's how you control people is with statutes.
But do we not have more states now than we did 20 years ago that have concealed carry at all?
Oh, yeah. Technically, yeah, you do. You do. So, well, Jared, but the thing is you have to say, well, if owning guns guarantees us liberty and freedom, why are we in this position that we're in right now? Why are we fighting against the greatest act of national fraud that we've ever experienced in our nation? If owning guns makes us free. Owning guns doesn't make us free. Liberty makes us free. So I just thought that maybe, this is, Crossbreed Holsters homeroom. It's all about being dangerous on demand. And if you want to be dangerous on demand, what you should expect from your state is you should expect that your state governor and your legislators and your sheriffs and your chiefs of police, you should expect them to honor and respect the United States Constitution and the Constitution of your state, and not hostage your rights or hold your rights hostage and ransom them back to you. And ladies and gentlemen, don't write me letters and say, we can't, because that's bull crap. That's a cop-out. Yes, you can. It requires effort and dedication and maybe you being a little bit uncomfortable, but it can be done. You are the people. And as long as you accept it, it's going to keep happening. All right, let's move on to Kung Flu Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. Kung Flu Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. Okay, I really didn't have a funky song.
That did not fit at all.
That did not.
It was a good try, though.
All right, I tried. Kung Flu Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. So all you peasants out there, all summer long, you're like, I'm going to go out and do stuff, and I'll leave my house, and I'm allowed to go to a coffee shop. Woohoo! My master, my king, has allowed me to go to a coffee shop. Well, the election's over, and they've rigged it. They already got you. They got your mail-in votes and all that, and so. But now the people are getting all restless. All these Trump voters, these 75 million Trump voters they're all restless. And they're like, whoa, calm down there. You Trump voting conservative, radical, white. What did that freaking Muslim terrorist from Minnesota say? Oh, that Trump rallies are Klan rallies. And it's the same thing. Except that she forgot that the Klan was formed by the Democrat Party. Robert Byrd? Was Robert Byrd the Grand Kleagle of the Ku Klux Klan a Republican? Oh, no, he was Democrat. But history be damned. All right, so we got a story here from, you know why I couldn't read that story, Jared? That Allegheny butt fart story there?
Why?
Because I clicked on it and it said, you have exceeded your level of free articles. Please subscribe. You can subscribe to my butthole because I'm not giving you a penny. So here we go. We got a story here from PJ Media, who's not going to make me pay to subscribe to them. Pennsylvania governor mandates mask wearing in your home. So this phallus with ears and his mental patient health commissioner, they've decided that you peasants had just a little bit too much freedom. Time to put the chains back on. All right, go ahead and tell us what this is all about there, J-Rod.
Pennsylvania governor mandates mask wearing in your own home. The story is November 18th, 2020.
The 18th of November, so brand new.
So it starts out with another COVID-19 wave on the horizon. Several states are restricting the number of guests you can have over for Thanksgiving. Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf, however, is adding several new measures, including testing and quarantining for people coming into the state, with some exceptions, and requiring the wearing of masks in your own home if you have company over. This is insane.
Mm-hmm.
These are tweets from the PA Department of Health issuing order requiring, this is from November 17th, and it says issuing order requiring anyone who visits Pennsylvania from another state to get tested within 72 hours before entering Pennsylvania. Pennsylvanians who traveled to other states must follow same rules when coming home. Does not apply to those who commute to from another state for work or medical treatment. So it's not really about stopping.
So it does. It's not really about safety then.
What?
So,
Strengthening masks. This is the second tweet. It said this is from, I guess probably the same time. Strengthening masking order. Masks are still required. indoors. Masks now required anytime you're with people outside your household, even if you're socially distant. Applies to all indoor facilities, plus if you have people in your home not part of your household.
Oh,
I deem you part of my household for 24 hours.
So who's in charge of the Pennsylvania Health Department? Oh, that's right. A mental patient. There is a mentally unstable mongoloid in charge of the Pennsylvania Health Department, because you folks in Pennsylvania apparently haven't found your collective testicles yet. I would suggest that you find them.
Now,
where does they get the authority to tell you what you can and cannot do inside your own home?
That's crazy.
From where does this authority originate?
Well, it's not even to me, it's not even about that. It's what makes them think that, like, why are they even thinking it's okay? Because they've been allowed to.
Well, and we continue to play the how stupid are Americans game. Masks don't work. Oh, yes, they do. Yes, they do. Go fornicate yourself. We have 9 months of evidence.
Now, I'm looking at the definition of household, and it says the inhabitants of a house considered collectively. A group of people, especially a family living together as a unit, a domestic establishment, including any servants, attendants, etc. So,
servants and attendants? Does it
yes.
say that really?
Yeah.
Freaking rich people speak.
Yep.
How many people? Well, I hope that you're including my servants as part of my household, because how else would we get afternoon tea if we didn't have our servants?
It's crazy. So if you come over for Thanksgiving, then you are then part of the household.
That's right. And as are your servants.
This is crazy. Like, what?
Does it really say the word servants?
Yeah. That was
awesome.
Let me open up that tab back up. That was let's see. It doesn't even say that definition is rarely used anymore. So it's the number one definition. First found in 1529, last known use, or this is OED, 2009 was the last verification.
All right, so let's go ahead and move. You're like, well, that's just Pennsylvania. That's just one instance. I mean, that's just one. Okay, you don't believe me? Let's go to the next story from foxnews.com. And apparently, they actually put a date on it. Congratulations, Fox News.
Yeah, they must have been listening.
Yeah, November 13th. Beetlejuice, also known as Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, is putting the clamp down on you peasants thinking you got too much freedom going on out there. Hit me, Jared. What is Beetlejuice talking about?
It says Chicago mayor's lockdown orders and canceling of Thanksgiving draw pushback.
How dare you?
Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot faced intense backlash Thursday for her recent round of lockdown orders, which came days after she joined large crowds celebrating Joe Biden's election victory.
He didn't win.
What? What does that have anything to do with this story? Whatever. Amid national spikes of coronavirus cases, the Windy City top Democrat announced a 30-day stay-at-home advisory that will take effect Monday. The advisory calls on the Chicagoans to do the following: stay home unless for essential reasons, stop having guests over, including family members you do not live with, avoid non-essential travel, cancel traditional Thanksgiving plans. That was the summary from her Twitter.
We're being, Jared, are you noticing a trend here? We're being enslaved by Twitter posts.
So this is it's a 30-day stay-at-home advisory. Does that have, to the mayor, does that have any legal bearing?
Well, she said that they were going to, I believe she said they were going to fine people $1,000 for breaking her rules.
The order suggests Lightfoot has been taking the coronavirus outbreak seriously, but just last Saturday she was seen maskless while touting the projected victory. Blah blah blah.
Well, this is 100% typical. So she's out. So she goes out and she cheerleads for Sniffy Joe, right? And there's pictures of it. She's in this huge, massive crowd, and that's okay. That's okay. So as soon as she's done with that, she turns right around and says, "Oh, you know, the Kung Flu's getting bad. I am ordering Chicagoans to cancel Thanksgiving because apparently I have that authority. Apparently the mayor of your city has the authority to cancel Thanksgiving." Didn't we do all this crap 6 months ago? Didn't we destroy the economy? Didn't we do like umpteen billions of dollars worth of damage to the economy 6 months ago? And if that worked, why are we doing it again? And if that didn't work, why are we trying to do it again? You see, ladies and gentlemen, because it's the definition of insanity. We'll do something that didn't work. Oh man, the Kung Flu's still out there. Oh man. Oh, our lockdowns and mask requirements and social distancing. It didn't stop it. Well, what do we need to stop it? Well, we need to do the exact same thing over again. But it didn't work the first time. Well, yeah, but what? What's his nuts? The king of California. He just got busted doing the exact same thing. Did you see that, Jared? After he came out and was like, no Thanksgiving celebrations. The very next day, he was photographed at a dinner party, at a restaurant, in public. No social distancing, no masking. Well, because the virus is a smart virus. It knows that His Majesty, the King of California, is exempt. It knows that Her Majesty, the Queen Beetlejuice of Chicago, she's exempt. The virus is so smart that it knows not to attack your bar until after 10 p.m. Do you see that, Jared? The 10 p.m. closure?
Yeah,
all bars must be closed by 10.
Yeah, we talked
because
about
of
that,
Kung
I think
Flu.
on the grad program last week.
I was talking about that yesterday on the radio with Mark. He's like, so that it's so smart that the coronavirus knows not to go to Walmart, but it'll go to the coffee shop. Really? And yet we still see imbeciles walking around with masks. Even after the CDC had to admit that people who wore masks were just as likely to get it as people who didn't. Your mom, who doesn't like to pay attention to this stuff, she shared a story with me yesterday. She shared it verbally. She said there was a story about a wedding that they were calling, it was a super spreader, right? Because that's the new vernacular we're using. And how two grandparents, a grandma and grandpa, got the Kung Flu. But the only time grandma and grandpa took their masks off was to eat. They wore a mask otherwise the whole time. It's almost like what we've been saying for 6 months is true. And you guys have got to ask yourself, just how stupid did they think that we are? How slavish are we willing to be? Well, we let you guys out of your houses for the summer, but now it's time for you to and do you think it's a coincidence, Jared? You tell me that President Trump's lawyers and his legal team are in the process of exposing and providing evidence of the greatest instance of voter fraud that this country's ever experienced. And what are all the newspapers covering?
Not that.
COVID part 2, a wave, a massive wave. All the top stories are governor says, mayor says, da 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 da. Yeah. What should be the number one story on every news. All right. Richard Nixon had to resign because he was caught recording his enemies. One instance of him recording his political enemies, had to resign. Top story in the world. That was a sneeze and a fart compared to what is going on right now. It's up to you, ladies and gentlemen. It's up to you to stand up, look in the mirror, and say, will I be a slave or will I not? Do we have any questions that need to be answered, Zachary?
No.
No. Zach says no. All right.
But,
well, ladies and gentlemen. What?
Guess what just came in?
What just came in?
As we were recording, I got the box of pipe hitter books.
Woo-hoo!
So if you pre-ordered
Nick sent us
yours,
some books.
Yep. If you
Are
pre-ordered
those the
yours,
signed books that Nick sent?
Correct.
Sweet.
If you pre-ordered yours, I will be sending out today, which is
All right.
Wednesday.
All right. All right. Jared's going to give you a CTA, but we're going to be dark tomorrow. We will be dark on Thanksgiving. Spend the time with your family. Actually, spend the time with your families. Fornicate these tyrants and live like a free man. And then we'll be back with a grad program bonus episode on Friday.
Yep. Go join the Discord server. studentofthegun.com/Discord. That is your that's your marching order for the end of the show. Go join the Discord server. Get in with all the cool people that are there. It is open to the public. You don't have to be a grad program member to be part of the Discord server. Obviously, grad program members get access to private portions of the Discord server, but go join it. studentofthegun.com/Discord.
There you go. And remember, kids, you're a beginner once,
a student for life.
We appreciate your reviews. If you haven't left a review or updated yours recently, head on over to Facebook, iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcast player to voice your opinion. Don't forget to join us at the Student Lounge, a place for like-minded individuals to learn, connect, and support each other. No chicanery will be tolerated. Remember to check studentofthegun.com daily for new, free content and giveaways. Watch, listen, read, shop, and connect at studentofthegun.com. Are you a social butterfly? Connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter for new content each and every day at Student of the Gun. Watch Student of the Gun TV and videos from our trusted partners on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Chromecast, and even AirPlay. Go to studentofthegun.com for direct links, and remember, you're a beginner once, a student for life.